What up, y'all? Sather here, back for another little video and college football player reacts. If you can't tell, I'm wearing my jersey right now. I play college football. If you couldn't tell by the title of this video, we're going to be checking out every state's worst football stadium. And I am curious when we get to the Midwest, where I've lived my whole life, uh, what exactly they're going to show us as the worst college football stadium there. But yeah, I know a lot of you guys that are my subscribers currently um aren't don't really know a lot about football. So I'm gonna create some reaction videos, reacting to a couple, different college football videos basically, and just give you guys an idea uh, what football in America, American football, as you guys keep telling me, actually is, and the sport I play, and how it does relate to rugby, which is how I gain a lot of following, is my rugby reactions. So yeah, let's hop right into it. All right, let's hop right into it.
Real quick, think of how many states you've been to. If you were lucky, you probably
Most,
went to all the nice parts and maybe even took in a football
a
game.
lot of them. I've been to a
Hopefully,
lot of them.
the stadium was nice too. Well,
That's
today we're going to
Pittsburgh.
look at all the stadiums in each state you need to
So
avoid because,
hungry.
well, sometimes things suck. And boy, do these
Yeah,
stadiums
they do.
suck. The worst football stadium in every state is coming
Beach
up
State,
right after.
Alabama.
Once a multiple-time host of both NFL games and
That's
the
not even that
Iron
bad.
Bowl, Legion Field has fallen on hard times. Currently being
Is that
used by the
UAB's?
USFL, the stadium has undergone little maintenance, especially since structural concerns
Is
prompted
this
the removal
UAB's
of
old
the upper
stadium?
deck in 2004.
I'm gonna guess it's UAB's because I know they upgraded.
It's really unfair to put this stadium on here considering
Yeah.
it's pretty much the only football stadium in the huge state of Alaska. The University of Alaska Anchorage doesn't even have
I know a lot of my subscribers are rugby fans. This is a tiny college football. This is a high school college football stadium. I don't even call it a stadium at this
a
point.
football team. Fun fact, in
Both my
2008, a
I went to two
small
high
plane
schools. Both of them were bigger than this one. Let's just say that.
made an emergency crash landing on the stadium's track during a soccer game. I'm sure nobody noticed.
Arizona,
Home of NAU's football team, the
NAU.
Longview Sky Dome is really just a giant
I don't
wooden
hate it.
warehouse. Hey, at least
I don't hate it that
indoors,
much.
it's not a terrible stadium, but compared to other D1 facilities, it's pretty lame. At an
Yeah, but
elevation of 7,000 feet, it will
it's not
have more
Power
sea
Five,
level
and that's
athletes.
I think the problem that a lot of people don't get is it's not Power Five, so it's not going to be it can be multi-million dollars, but it's not going to be the biggest stadium in the world if they're not SEC, Big Ten, or any of those conferences.
Sucking wind.
Some of those non-Power Five teams do.
Oh,
Arkansas,
do we have a beauty here? The home of the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden
that's
Lions,
pretty
an
ugly.
FCS school. This stadium is an asymmetric
FC,
ocular
this is an
violation.
FCS stadium. I mean, it's not that bad. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt if they actually got, because it's a drone view of this stadium, but it doesn't have any lines or any of the decorations on it. So like, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt when it's all like ready for game day. It's probably all right.
The
And it's
Monopoly
not tiny
Hotel that
either.
serves as the press box is a nice touch, I guess. I gotta give him credit though for trying. It is Arkansas.
Cali,
Once the home of Long Beach State's football
yeah,
program, even
that's
they
pretty
didn't
small.
like this place as they just ended their football program
Okay,
30 years ago.
my problem with this one is that the stands are not centered, and I hate it. There's a lot of parking spaces, which is pretty nice, but and their that's their softball stadium down here. That's their baseball. That's softball's is that an all turf field? That looks pretty nice, but there I hate it. It's not a bad college football stadium in general, but the stands being off centered, I mean I hate it so much.
Open in 1950, now it's the home of Long Beach City College's football team. I'm sure it sucked
Okay.
back then too. The huge surrounding parking lot and warehouses in the area make this place more sterile than a eunuch.
Colorado, one of my states I've lived in
Where
my
is the
life.
sheriff to come
Tiny.
arrest this place? Stupid dad jokes. Home of the University of Northern Colorado Bears. This
Northern Colorado, and they have a really nice basketball program. So
for FCS, but this place edged out the Air Force Academy's Falcon Stadium on account that the Air Force has drones that know my location.
it's funny. Connecticut.
First of all, Pratt and Whitney.
I don't hate UConn's.
Engines, and secondly, UConn.
I think the problem with this one is that Connecticut's a really small state, so I really like UConn's stadium in general. And this, like, around it, I guess that's all parking. I think that's pretty cool how they did it. It's not bad, but there's a lack of choices, let's just say.
This place is pretty lacking for a D1 FBS facility.
That's not even that much lacking.
Amenities and a tiny jumbo.
That's not lacking that much.
Sputters out.
It's Big East. I don't know if Big East has
Dover
football.
Motor Speedway is Alumni Stadium, your typical
Just another
with a
small,
running track. The D1 FCS
tiny
Delaware
stadium.
State
That's an
Park has been
FCS,
played
which
here since 1959.
if that was a D2 or
Unfortunately,
NAIA,
many other
if that was a D2 or NAIA, that'd probably be all right. But yeah, FCS schools, you want to be a little bigger.
stadiums in Delaware, so they lost by default. That's gotta sting.
That's also true. Delaware is tiny. Florida, Daytona
Oh,
Stadium.
we got a beauty here,
Oh.
located right next to a wastewater treatment plant and
That-
a lake, which I'm sure is
That is the most Florida thing I've ever heard. Sticking a football stadium next to a wastewater treatment plant. Yeah.
great for
That makes
mosquitoes.
sense.
Daytona Stadium is the home of the
Oh, I bet they're
University
horrible.
Wildcats and has been open since
I bet they're
1958.
horrible
For some
there.
reason, the field is blurry in Google Maps, which is fitting since this stadium is making my eyes strain in agony.
Georgia. In Atlanta.
Maybe one of the oddest configurations
Oh.
of all of sports. This stadium.
Here's the thing. I love this. I think Georgia State did something really cool and unique with this. And it looks like it can be turned into a baseball field. I think that was the original plan, what it looks like. But I kind of love it. I think with a lot of football stadiums that are made, it's not exactly a problem, but they all start to look the same, especially the really big schools. All those huge football stadiums at like Alabama, Nebraska, Georgia, they all end up looking really similar. So it's really cool when a bigger stadium has a lot of quirks. So I honestly really like this. I don't know what the worst field. I know they're only going by D1 too, and it's Georgia State, Georgia, and I don't know what other D1s are in Georgia. So obviously that kind of puts them down on the list for that. But I don't hate this at all.
Makes about as much sense as Georgia State upsetting Tennessee. Once the venue for the
They did do that.
1996 Olympics, this was then converted into the Braves' home for 20 years, and
I told you, it looks like a baseball stadium. I called it.
then mashed together for football, and it sure does fucking look like it. Most of the stadium is tarped off anyways, and it looks like the press box is positioned in the end zone. Just a bizarre.
I don't like that part about it. Hawaii, there's not a lot of choices.
Okay, this place is now condemned and abandoned.
Yeah, he's saying
but it wasn't.
it's condemned and abandoned. This is the University of Hawaii's stadium. It is falling apart. I already know what this place is. I think it's a really cool stadium. The colors look nice and the setup and the trees around it.
Even
But it
good
is
when
falling
was in
apart.
use. Unfortunately, Hawaii's climate makes it very tough to have a stadium on the island, and Aloha suffered the consequences. Rotting concrete, rusted steel, and expensive upkeep is what ultimately doomed the place.
Yeah. Idaho, the Kibbie Dome, Idaho State.
Home of the Idaho Vandals. I will give
Idaho
the
Vandals,
Dome
not
some
Idaho
credit.
State,
At
my
least
bad.
They did install new turf in 2020.
Don't hate it.
Still doesn't change the fact.
I got
that
some buddies who went
football
here.
stadium
Don't
is
hate
a
it.
Giant grain storage facility or a place you can buy livestock on a Sunday in August, which I think is true. There was talk of adding
Probably.
a second deck in 2006, though that would have been
For a
completely
FCS school that doesn't have a lot of, I don't think they have a ton of money. I think they did something really cool with this dome. Now it's obviously not for everyone, but they did what they could with what they had, basically.
unnecessary.
I don't hate it. Illinois.
Okay, I had to dig.
You're telling me this is a college football stadium? Oh my God. I just want
Deep
to hear
into
what they
my
have to
bag to
say.
find this one. Named after Trinity International University's first ever head coach, Leslie Frazier, yes, the former Vikings head coach. This might be the most stripped down, sad college
Oh,
football
that is
field
sad.
I've ever seen.
He
Even
could
for
do so much with
NAIA,
this.
this is
Oh, it's
freaking
NAIA.
sad. Oh well, everyone has to start somewhere, right?
Indiana,
Hey,
Brownfield,
I didn't know
Valpo.
Valpo had a football team, but now you do too. And here's the fittingly named Brown Field. Again, not bad for an FCS team, but
Not
it was slightly
horrible.
worse than Ball State. And yeah, I had to work
Ball
Ball
State's,
State
I
into
think,
this video. And that is
not
not an
bad.
ad for Manscaped,
Iowa,
where Kurt Warner learned to dominate dome turf. The UNI Dome fittingly hosts
UNI.
UNI
Really good
Panthers.
school.
In 1994, the roof collapsed under the weight of heavy snow, and that's actually happened multiple times until a new roof was put in 2010. Look, the place may be the worst stadium in Iowa, but at least they don't play the ugliest football here.
No, they don't. They play some pretty damn good football.
Oh,
Iowa.
you expected to see
Kansas.
Memorial on here?
Oh.
I mean, yeah, that place is shitty for a
That
Power
is
5
ugly.
school, but nothing really tops Cessna Stadium, an abandoned wedge in the middle
That
of
is
nowhere,
ugly.
Kansas, otherwise known
Mm.
as Wichita, or just Kansas. It used to be the home of the Wichita State Shockers, but their
I'm glad
entire
Wichita
football
State
team was
moved.
killed in a plane crash, and now the relic is named after an aviation
Oh.
company. That's kind of ironic.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Got a level one-sided
Interesting.
circular turd with no visitor stands, wide open useless spaces,
It's-
and sparsely planted trees around the perimeter. Might
I
need
think
to
it's a
plant
cool
few
circle
more of those
setup.
to hide this thing. Murray State is a D1 FCS school and plays in the Ohio Valley Conference.
I don't think that's that bad. Louisiana,
Home of the Northwestern State Demons, this
That's
stadium,
tiny.
just like me, was born in the mid-70s and is showing every sign of its age. It's not terrible, it's just an old concrete wedge with dated features, and the lower seating area is narrower than the upper.
Maine. There's probably not a lot of choices.
Dual-use monstrosity
Oh.
alert! Home of Maine's Husson Eagles, I thoroughly enjoy how
Oh.
the sidelines
In high school, you can get away with having a dual purpose stadium. I think when you get to college, oof, it's not good. Especially when it looks as bad as this. And the stands are set up like a tiny baseball. Oh, I hate it. God, I hate it.
stands don't even make it to midfield. Apparently,
Just
on
what
their
I said.
website, they were quite happy that they added a press box and a drainage system to the field last year.
That's Maryland.
Sure, there
FedEx
are
Field.
worse stadiums than FedEx Field in Maryland, like
God, that's big.
Towson's, but no way that this stadium escapes the ignominy of being the worst stadium disproportionate to the level of play expected here. This is an NFL venue that spews both sewage and bullshit onto their fans, had to be reduced in capacity because it structurally sucks so bad, and is a bigger heaping mess than Hope Solo. And I'm not
Yep.
talking about her DUI footage. This stadium needs to be bulldozed along with a team owner in it. How are you an NFL stadium and be on this list?
So bad. I don't even have nothing to say about it.
Hey, today you learned UMass has a football team.
I already knew
You
that.
learned how bad their stadium is. Stapled atop
Not
a
horrible.
concrete lot. This place looks about
The thing I think that a lot of people judge college football stadiums on is what you see on TV. And what you see on TV is the Power Five massive, massive coliseums. This is a normal college football stadium. And I'm starting to pick that up, that it's not what you see on TV every single day, every Saturday. So I think there's a lot of, if you're not a huge college football fan, and some people who are huge college football fans don't watch anything under Power Five, but That kind of annoys me a little bit.
Not as exciting as sitting next to Russell
I don't know.
Wilson on an 8-hour flight. Before you say this place isn't bad, this is a D1 FBS stadium.
That is true, but still.
This may be hard to believe, but
East
you're
Michigan.
looking at the upgraded version of Rynearson. For years, this place was an unmitigated
I know it looks horrible. I have it. For some reason, I love this stadium, and I don't know why.
dump and house.
Other than the fact there's a track around it, which is a downfall for any college football stadium.
Very few fans who came to see the Eastern Michigan team get smoked. Now the team
Yeah,
is a bit
they're
better
also
and they
horrible.
tarped off most of the
And they have a
ugliness,
gray
but
field,
this stadium
so
is still
I think
cheap.
that's pretty
The
cool.
gray turf is cool, I guess.
Yes, it is. Shut up. Minnesota! We're getting closer to home.
This is a small one to pick
St.
on.
Thomas.
Purple
I've
track
actually
is
been here.
killing my-
I have actually been here. You see my mouse. I was over here and I came in this arena for a basketball game. I personally, you have to, if you're down there, kind of buy it. It's a really cool stadium, but you have to be kind of down on the field and right next to it just to see how it's set up. And that's the problem with an aerial view is you're not getting some of the really cool qualities. I personally love St. Thomas Stadium.
my eyes. I could have gone with TCF Bank Field for the fact that it's an outdoor frozen wasteland, but all
That's
of
also true.
Minnesota is an outdoor frozen wasteland.
Yes.
Actually, for a small stadium, this isn't that bad. At least
No, it's
they are
not.
trying.
It's a good stadium.
We got an ugly one here, boys.
There you
Home
go.
of
That's a
Mississippi
bad
Valley
stadium.
State Devils, where Jerry Rice and
Ooh.
Ian Jones played. Yes, I
Jerry
believe
Rice
the
played here?
Rice is for Jerry, and he has donated to the school heavily. Too bad
Oof.
NFL player money isn't NFL owner money, and there isn't much you can do to this place. Maybe Jerry should call Brett Favre. He knows how to raise funds in Mississippi.
Missouri.
I always like a stadium that tries really
Red
hard
Hawks.
on one side of the field and then mails it in on the other. And by
That's what you have to do for the visitors.
A poor person likes Brett Favre. Not at all. Back-to-back Brett Favre jokes, everybody. Hawk Stadium is the home
That's
of the
funny.
Southeast Missouri State University Red Hawks, a D1 FCS school.
Not horrible. Montana. There's not a lot of
Not
options.
many options for stadiums
Yeah.
in Montana, as the Grizzlies
I
actually
love
have one of the best
Montana
small stadiums
States.
in the country. So Bobcat Stadium,
Really cool
the
stadium.
dishonor of being the ugly sister. And boy, did the ugly stick touch her up, as it looks like they were on the way to making a good stadium and just stopped.
Nebraska. Peru State.
Not the site of the state's most horrific football. No, that's in Lincoln. Tiny Peru State gets
Ha! That couldn't be any more true. Yeah, Peru State's not FCS or FBS. I'm pretty sure they're. I think they're D2.
picked on here for slapping their stadium onto the side of the hill and calling it a day. It probably isn't that bad for NAIA, but it looks
NAIA.
hilarious in Google Earth.
Nevada. We're close to the
If you were
Dakotas.
from Nevada, you probably guessed that Sam Boyd would be the worst, even though it's now abandoned. And you also appreciate that I said Nevada. But this place was a dump before UNLV left for Allegiant Stadium.
Which is a
Sam
good
Boyd
thing.
was very uncomfortable, hot, and sweaty, kind of like a fat man at a strip club. The Raiders tried to move here, but the place was bad for even
The Raiders try to move here? That's a tiny NFL
their
stadium.
standards.
Now the Raiders have one of the coolest stadiums in the NFL. So
What happens when you combine your gym and a football field?
it can be done really well, and I'm about to show you something because I think I know what they're going to do for South Dakota.
You get this eye stabber.
I think the stadium that South Dakota has, I have an idea. I think let's
Home
get
of
there
the
when we get to
UNH
it.
Wildcats, this place is
Keep that in your
nicknamed
mind.
the Dungeon.
Stadium connected to
I
a
think they actually tore that
field.
gym down, though.
New Jersey.
Can't spell shit without SHI. Man, you gotta work hard to be the
Rutgers.
worst stadium in New Jersey. Home of the Scarlet Knights.
Not a lot of schools in New Jersey.
Compared to the others on this list, the stadium's like not bad. But remember,
it's
they
not.
play
It's a Big Ten.
football
Yep.
here. Well, let me rephrase that. Big Ten teams come here to play football.
Amen. They're horrible. I hate Rutgers.
So from above, what does this stadium look
Aggies.
like? Use your imagination. Credit for them trying. This is
Fair enough.
Bethland, but I'm not the biggest fan of mound-based stadiums.
That's New York.
The field here is actually named after
Recruited me. We're getting into some of the schools that did recruit me. Columbia was one of them. That would have been fun. You're right along the river. I've never actually looked at like their college setup, but they did recruit me a little bit, not much, but they did. I got a lot of emails and some texts.
Robert Kraft, so I'm sure they have top-notch massage facilities. The turf looks nice, but the stadium
That
looks
baseball
plain,
stadium's
and I'm
really
sure
cool.
The nearby river smells great on a hot day.
I
Columbia
bet it
University
just smells
plays
amazing.
in the Ivy League, which is technically D1.
Technically.
For nerds.
True. North Carolina.
Yo,
Durham.
dog, I heard you like football, so we put a football field
Not
next
D1.
to your football field.
Horrible.
Looks like
So bad.
NCCU's field next to their stadium was the old one, so they were like, man, we can do way better than that, and came up with this. Hopefully, this is not an engineering school.
North Dakota.
Yes,
Another school that recruited me.
But there aren't many stadiums in North Dakota.
No,
to
there's
pick
not.
on.
Okay. Aerial view does not do the stadium justice either. I have been here. They recruited me. I went on a game day visit. They recruited me pretty hard. I was in the Shrine Bowl game. I was in the All-Star game, and we practiced here. Aerial view does not do this place justice. For small town team, this is NAIA, by the way. So this is like low of the low. Or not all the way, but pretty low. I think if you're actually there, it's not a horrible setup. It's actually pretty cool how they do it. But Mayville, North Dakota has like 12 people. Not counting the college, has like 12 people that live in it. So obviously it's not going to be that great.
As you can tell from this shot, it's
and it is right next to a
literally in the middle of a
cornfield. Yes,
It
Mayville,
should've just let
North
the corn
Dakota.
be the boundary like in Field of Dreams. Instead, this is a field of sadness. Bonus content, their baseball field is unnecessarily weird. Dude, they have unlimited space.
Ohio, Mayville, man.
What should be called Driver's Ed Stadium, the misnamed Welcome
Holy.
Stadium, looks like a torn ACL just waiting to happen. The Bengals actually did a training camp here in 2019, which is funny because it's probably an upgrade from their practice facilities.
Oklahoma, Tulsa.
I don't know what happened with these end zone seats. Are there that many people
I don't hate
really
them.
clamoring for football in Tulsa that they needed this many extras?
Don't
Not
hate it.
terrible, but the Golden Hurricanes, which is another word for big shower, is a D1 FBS school.
Oregon, Hillsboro.
Dual use? How about quadruple
Horrible.
use?
Horrible.
They say that Portland State plays their football games here, and honestly, the grandstand isn't in bad
God,
condition
that's ugly.
at all, but the mashup field is hurting my eyes and my soul.
God, it's ugly. Pennsylvania.
This looks like the most out-of-place football field I've ever seen and has one of the smallest
I think so,
capacities
too.
for any D1 FCS schools in the
That's
country.
FCS?
Nothing particular awful about the field. It's just
God,
the
that's
brunt
horrible.
of PA's litter.
Yeah, it is. Rhode Island, Providence.
Another Ivy League stadium, though nearly a century old. It looks like a rotting castle that
So
used to
ugly.
hang heads on
I
pikes
hate
to
that.
warn outsiders. This is the largest stadium in Rhode Island because there isn't much in
There's
Rhode Island.
not a lot of anything.
Sorry,
So-
Citadel, I had to do it to you. What's with this large open area on the visitor's side? It's like you are setting them up to be used as target practice. Respect
I
to
also
our
think this is a
service
really
provided
cool
students, but this is
stadium.
one ugly-ass stadium.
Kind of. South Dakota. Yes, it is. Clark Switcher Field. Okay. We're going to get into this for a second.
It was hard to find the worst stadium in South Dakota because it's hard to find anything in South Dakota.
Yes, it is.
Home of the
Okay.
most generic named college ever, Northern State. This stadium
Okay. This is actually the college I go to. Believe it or not, this is the college I go to, and this is not where we play anymore. I'm going to let him go on with the video, and I'll kind of explain some things. But first, I'm going to say this. This is not Northern State's field and never was. This is the local, like, public high school's field, and it was the only really good field in Aberdeen. This is in Aberdeen, South Dakota. That's where I go to school. So obviously I know this, and I grew up here, so I know a little bit. There was a time, there's two colleges in Aberdeen. There was until this last year, and the small private school closed down. And there's two high schools that have a football team and two colleges that had a football team. And for one point, and for an extended period of time, all four football teams in Aberdeen played on this field because there are no other good ones. It's I love the field because I played high school on it. Um, but yeah, it's a horrible college football stadium, which is why they upgraded and we upgraded, and I'll get into that. So this is a little outdated, but
is so proud to be affiliated with the NCAA.
it has NCAA.
They just put the NCAA logo at the 50.
There's a reason for that too. It's not Northern States Field, so they couldn't put their logo on it. It's a deal they made with the high school basically that they could put NCAA. And after a while, this actually got upgraded, so the high school's colors are on it. So it's even more outdated. But yeah, there's a reason it says NCAA in the middle. It's because it's not actually Northern States. Um, but yeah. Okay. What we're gonna do. Okay, so this is my college, so I do have to defend it. We did get an upgraded stadium on campus, thank God, because this is like on the edge of town, if you can't tell. So let me hop right over to that video here. Okay, so this is Dakota Bank Stadium, and this was put in last year. So this was 2 seasons ago was the first year this was in use. I have to defend Northern because it's no longer the worst stadium in South Dakota. Far from it. So this is Northern States Field. I personally love it. It's D2, by the way. It's really amazing D2 facilities. This grass area around here is all seating, but I do have to defend that we did upgrade. And when I said I need to come back to gyms connected to stadiums, this is the basketball arena and swimming pool and all that stuff. And then softball is new. But that's how they connected the basketball arena. It can be done well. Those are the locker rooms right there. But they did upgrade. We did upgrade. So we're no longer that bad. It's a long time coming, but I personally love this field and I love this stadium. Anyway, back to the video. Tennessee, Nashville.
Can't spell Commodores without commode. And
well, the thing about Vandy is that they're a horrible football team.
That's what Vandy Stadium is.
It's pretty bad.
Giant impersonal concrete bowl that just screams demolish me and start all over again.
I think that's just kind of a hole.
Routinely gets shit on here.
Yep.
The baseball field right next to it is actually nicer than this. And
Vandy's baseball team is really good, so that's probably why their field's really.
Okay, this is a Division III school, but man, this stadium is especially dumpy.
I love these stands they put in the right by the end zone. Just like, what is it, like 20 seats? They just said, yeah, we'll throw them in there. I love it.
I mean, you got to be pretty sad to be the worst in the entire state of Texas.
That is pretty bad.
The track is not being used by Austin College, and it's amazing the capacity is listed at 2,000 when only 1,300 students go there.
Utah.
So the college that used to play here was called Dixie State, but now they changed the name to Utah Tech. Dixie State was named after famous alum Dixie Normus. No, that's not true. I don't get the one red stripe of upgraded seats here.
They did have a whole name change
of this tiny field. Another state that is hard to pick on as the big school in the state, University of Vermont, doesn't even have a football program. So this is not only the worst stadium in Vermont, but also the only Middlebury College AD3.
The only football stadium in Vermont.
Another service academy finds itself on this list as VMI
I don't hate it.
Old Field gets the thumbs down.
Ugh.
I mean, the inside view just really shows you how freaking old this place is.
I kind of love it. I have to say, I do kind of love this stadium, how it's set up. I think it has a really cool feel to it. I want to go to a game here, actually.
SoCon Conference, soak on these nuts. Got him.
It's fun. Washington.
Okay, fine. I cheated on this one, but
That
the
doesn't even
video
count.
title is Worst Football Stadium, and how much worse can you get than a pile of fucking dirt? Joe Albee was a 28,000.
Pretty nice stadium. I don't know if that counts.
And used to be the home of the
Spokane.
Cougars. Trust me, this
Not
place was a
Spokane.
dump when it was open too. Now it's just a literal dump. It was demolished and bulldozed in 2022.
That doesn't count. That's what. West Virginia.
This stadium looks like it is going to collapse at any second. I like the second
God,
press
that
box
end
next
zone.
to the other press box. Yeah, let's not replace.
Well, that's actually not a. That does make sense because that's probably where they video it from or something.
One. Let's just build a smaller
No, they use both. I'm gonna guess. I'm just gonna guess.
one next to it like it's Minecraft. The D2 Charleston Golden Eagles play
For
here.
people who aren't huge college football fans, obviously, you wouldn't.
Sorry,
Oshkosh.
Oshkosh. There
think
really
I have-
aren't
I got
many
some
stadiums
family
in
who goes here.
Wisconsin to pick on, so you get on this list by default. Not an awful stadium, but like not good either. The track around the field
alright.
does look excessively large, though. And
It's
finally,
alright.
our last worst stadium because you completely forgot about Wyoming.
Never forget about Wyoming. There's also not a lot of football stadiums
This
in
is really
Wyoming.
unfair since Josh Allen's old stomping grounds is actually
Really nice
a
field.
decent stadium, but there aren't any other college football stadiums in the state. At least
That's
any
also
that I can
true.
find. Literally,
I love the
there is
University of
no other
Wyoming.
college
God, that's
football
such a cool
program
stadium.
in the entire state. Seriously, how do y'all just live in Wyoming? Like, how is
Welcome to
that
the Midwest.
a thing? Well, there you have.
Welcome to the Midwest. There's not a lot of people and not a lot of places to go. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, this video is a little bit on the longer side, more than usual, but I hope you guys enjoyed looking at some college football stadiums with me. I'm a huge college football fan, if you can't tell. I obviously play the sport, so I'm gonna probably slightly like it. But yeah, I'm glad to show you and defend my school's honor, Northern State University. Cool, baby. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Ring the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one. Adios.